Welcome. Hey, this is Ken with Ken's Comics, and I'm here again for another live draw today. Might not take too long because I'm going to do something I'm used to. Last week, last Friday, I did this cover here. Let me show you. All right, one of my early backers on the Kickstarter suggested I had a request for a cover, and I did my best to hook him up there. So I did something I'd never drawn before, which was a lot of fun. Um, Hopefully, this works out today too. I still have a handful of sketch covers left, but let's get to that later. First of all, hi. If you're watching this, you know me. I'm Ken, and I make comics. I draw all kinds of stuff, but really, what I love the most on this earth is to draw comic book stuff, sequential stories, not just superheroes, but I've done some noir, some cartoons, some children's books. I just, I'm a fan of visual storytelling through illustration, and so that's what I do. I'm going to jump right to it. We have a Kickstarter running for our new comic book, Angel's Blood Zero, and it, if you haven't been following it, it hit really fast right out the gate. So in 3 days, we had a higher goal than our first Kickstarter. So in 3 days, we were fully funded with the first goal. Um, I want to thank everyone for supporting it, liking it, sharing, backing it. I also want to stress that the first goal is just the beginning. It's a bare bones goal for what we wanted to do with Angel's Blood, which is just, you start out by wanting to get a couple of copies made, and that's what we've done. So we have enough now to make the book exist, and we are looking to do a little bit more though. So if we can, with your support, we're gonna do some color editions. We'll do something like this. Let's do something where I do some coloring on the line art to bring a little more emphasis to the story. I've got stuff like sketch cards, trading cards, poker chips. I actually have a bunch of swag that I'm looking forward to shelling out uh, for this issue. So, I mean, there's going to be some surprises for some of my backers. I've got pins. Checks. I got a bunch of these run pins. So I'm going to share those with people. Anyone that backs the run edition. I just had some art cards made. I want to share that because I really love these things. Got like a boatload of these kind of things made. Boom, boom. This was a sketch cover that I did for a backer on Angel's Blood #1, and I liked it so much I made prints of it. Punk Comics, there we go, coming up soon. That's going to be the label that we do Angel's Blood under because it's something that's very personal to Mike and myself. Mike is the creator of Angel's Blood and also the writer of issues 1 and 2. So, woo! So anyway, we have this Kickstarter running, which is a fundraiser to get the first issue made. Now that we have enough to get the bare bones basic edition of the first issue made, we're going to step it up and do more. And that means more cool stuff, more fun stuff, but also I want to do marketing materials. I want to be able to send some copies out to retailers because as an indie comic guy, we have no distribution whatsoever other than what we do ourselves. So the only way to get a comic book in stores is to bring it in or hand it to someone or mail it to someone. So a little bit of personal outreach is required in the indie comics world. So we're looking to do some more of that because what we want is to keep making comics so that we can make comics. I keep saying I don't make comics to make money. I make money so I can make comics. What's exciting to me about this Kickstarter and things like that we've been doing is that it gives us a way to get some comic books made so that we can bring them out. Because without a distributor or a publisher or somebody with some financial backing, what we had to do in the past is just make our own comics and pay for the printing and the shipping, and everything came out of pocket, which personally, if I had the money, if I had $1 million, I wouldn't even worry about it. But I don't. As you can see, I'm doing this upstairs today. Changed my background a little bit, but I brought up my Hulk buddy who always joins me on these. And today I'm repping Cinema Slice, who has done some great video projects, and I'm working on some more with. So shout out to Nick White from Cinema Slice. And that kind of wraps up what I want to talk about first. Let's see if I have the link in the comments for the Kickstarter because I want to make sure I give you guys a chance to back that project, and I don't have it handy. All right, I will put it in the comments later. Trust me though, if you go to Kickstarter and just type in Angel's Blood Zero, it'll pop right up. And what we're looking for is just now our next goal is $1,200. Our first goal was only six to get some very basic books printed in black and white. Next one's going to be adding color to the line art. Whether or not you use a little bit or a lot of color, it doesn't matter. Printing costs the same, and it is twice as much as printing regular books. So, so the second goal is 1,200. So if we hit the $1,200 mark, and we are 96 as of this morning, we're $96 away from hitting that goal. And if we make that, we're going to print the color books and the specials and the extra poker chips, and have some cool swag and another brighter version of the book, hopefully. And if we get more of these sketch covers requested, and it looks like I might, because right now I'm doing the sketch covers on a as needed basis. If there's enough demand for it, though, we're going to print some sketch covers. I'm going to do those live as well. If the people want them, I like doing them. I'm going to keep doing regular weekly videos even after the Kickstarter is done running. This isn't just for Kickstarter. This is for me to get a way to get my stuff out in the world, hopefully in front of people like you. So, with no further ado, I think I'm going to head over here and work on a sketch cover. So this was a sketch cover I did Friday for my man Will, who was an early backer of the Kickstarter program, and I had a lot of fun with this. So this is from DC's The Demon #1. It's a little bit of a Jack Kirby homage. I say homage because it's not. I mean, I am not Jack Kirby, the great Jack Kirby, and nor would I try to be. Todd McFarlane once said, "Don't try to be like anybody else. We already have them. Don't be another Todd McFarlane. We already have Todd McFarlane. We already had a Jack Kirby." What we need is I guess what we need is a Ken Leeinar. So today I'm going to do an Angel's Blood, and I'm going to do a brand new, off the top of my head, original drawing. And that's what the sketch cover reward tier is for. So if you go to the Kickstarter, Angel's Blood 0, not Angel's Blood #1, the M rated, because the difference is I've had people that would search it on Kickstarter. They'd find the old project. Kickstarter never removes old projects. They're just not live anymore. So you could find the old Kickstarter, but you can't back it because it's not active. So I want to make sure if anybody's looking, you can go look at the old Kickstarter, see what we did, and there have been updates since then. I use that to keep in touch with people. But the one we want to go to now, and we only have 2 weeks left to see what more we can do. If we make this $1,200 goal, there's more to be announced. I have bigger goals. I mean, my imagination goes really, really far, and I'm trying to take it one chunk at a time. If we can do this, cool. If we do that, cool. If we make this first goal, we have another goal. If we make that goal, we have another goal. The only thing I will say is the second goal is 2,000. If we hit 1,200, my next goal is kind of expensive, so we're gonna try and do something cool, but it's gonna cost a little bit of money. So the second goal after that, to do even more fun stuff that will be announced later, is it's gonna be at a goal of 2,000, and that's a pretty modest goal for a comic book project. But I mean, it's a modest. We're a modest bunch of guys. I have some friends that are collaborating with me. Let's see if I can real quick show you my friend Mohammed. We're going to do some fantastic Mo. Here we go. Here's one. We're going to do some trading cards. I've got trading cards planned with Mo's pictures on them. This is a new print that he did just for this book, for Angel's Blood 0. It's incredibly exciting. I have a door that's creaking. All right. Now I shut that. There we go. One of those. I'm going to play with graphics all day. No, I'm sorry. I ramble, and I said I was going to get to the drawing, so let's get to the drawing. Pull all this stuff down. No, I don't like that. I like this. One of these days, I'll put some background music on here. We'll listen to some New Edition while I'm working. So let's see. And the idea about doing a cover, and I like these sketch covers because the print is already on there. You know, when I'm designing a cover, I usually have to imagine where the cover and the label and the name and the credits are all going to be. So doing it like this is how it appears in my head, even when it's a blank page. I imagine this space that I can't use. and then I try to keep my cool stuff focused in the space that I can use. So today, let's see, what have we not done with Golgoth? I think I'm going to do something with Golgoth here. So I'm going to do rough figure of the demon. Ooh, I have an idea. Haven't drawn him in flight very much. I don't know. Some artists are probably watching me going crazy, like, what the is your process here, man? Why are you starting with this or that? And I don't know. I need to start with the head, even though the body is positioning is very important, but everything revolves for me from the head and around the neck. Um, so if the head isn't right, that's where my eye goes. That's where most people, I think, look first at a character. You're going to make eye contact and see what his deal is. So I need to know where the eyes are going to be. So that means starting with the head. Now, this might look at first like it's a round human head. It's not going to be when I'm done. And from there, I branch out. So I'm thinking about it, looking down on him and having some perspective. So shoulders going to be haunched a little bit. You can see this part of his back. Now, I imagine the spine. So which way is he going? Is he coming straight at you? Is he twisted? Is he turning? I think this is going to be kind of a straightforward, like Superman would be flying, just posture right straight at you. The other thing, though, is as I'm watching this appear, I start with an idea and I'm working the idea, and I already know that it's changing as I'm doing it. So then I go with some muscles. Where is this arm going to take me? At first I thought he'd have his arms at his sides, and he will. Okay. So I move from the anatomy of the where's the head going to be, and then build it out from there, one piece at a time. So it goes with what's next. I'm going to see, his shoulders and his back. Where's his chest going to be? Chest is really important to me for any muscular character. I mean, I'm a Hulk guy. You may not have heard that, but I love the Hulk, and I build around like the muscles being a character of their own. Well, Golgoth doesn't have that. He's got a big chest plate, but the shape of it still kind of needs to accentuate where his pectorals are going to be. So I go from there, and then I start with the shoulder, and from that shoulder, then getting into the bicep, and from the bicep, where does that go? That gets into an elbow, and then a wrist and a hand. I mean, it's almost like that old song, one or the arm bone's connected to the leg bone. That's not right. I don't think the arm bone is connected to the leg bone. Turns out I might not know the lyrics to that song. But you get the gist. It's one piece at a time. This is connected to that, and that's connected to this. See, this already is looking different. When it starts to come to life, it may or may not look like what I had in my head, but I start with an idea, and then I roll with it. Oh, it looks hella rough. I know. Because so the back too, the back where Golgoth specifically has these wings. He's got two sets of wings because I just thought one wasn't enough. Instead of making him like just massively winged, I made his wings smaller, but I made two of them, and they're a little batty. So I have a little inspiration of Batman for the shape of the bottoms there, but they still have a internal structure of like kind of a bone that reaches down to help expand or contract the wings. I don't like to draw over the logo, so I'm gonna just blend out and allude to the wings being there. Golgoth too, he has a shoulder plate on one shoulder. So it's going to be on his left, our right. Just a shoulder protector. It's made of the same kind of old damaged material as the chest plate, which, for whatever reason, only covers his chest. And then I'm gonna do a newer Golgoth. Um, I've been doing the Golgoth with the chains for a strap, but I think at some point he replaced the chains with these long, leathery, belty straps. Once I have the basic form of where I'm going, then I sort of bounce around. I don't do anything too meticulously in my planning. I just once I have the shape, I usually will start to bounce back and make sure that the face is right. Because then one even with the arms, the arms, what's going on with the arms needs to, for me anyway, um, be a reflection of the facial expression. So if his arms are like this, but his face is smiling or something, that's not going to make any sense. So the total expression of his body and face work together. So I don't necessarily draw them all one and then all the other. Because and again, because most drawings for me have an evolution. They start out as you're saying as one thing and they work their way around to another. For design, just for basically for design reasons, I always give Golgoth a studded wristband. This is a sadly gratuitous point. It has no purpose other than when I was designing him years ago. I felt like he needed something to balance out that shoulder piece, but I didn't want anything to be too symmetrical on him. He's got his face is melted on the left side, not the right side. His wings are balanced, but I mean I always have his hair going one way or another. He's got these long braids. Um, I felt like nothing about Golgoth should ever be even. Um, the wrist brace does connect to the belt, which is just the same studded material, solid black. The belt, I don't want to call it a belt buckle. He's just has this emblem, which to me has always been the sideways cross. Same cross you see up here on its side, with the arrows pointing every which way. This is one of my favorite things that I have ever designed. Not to toot my own horn or say like it's super great. It's probably not, but it's my favorite because it has so much meaning behind everything. The um, the circle here is something that I picked up when I was at Michigan Tech from a rubbing class. Sorry, real quick. Went to Michigan Tech for a couple weeks on a graphic arts program. I've talked about that on previous videos, so I'm not going to talk about it today. One of the things we did was we took some big newsprint and some charcoal, and we made rubbings of tombstones, all the ornate, elaborate, Celtic, and just weird. I mean, just so many amazing designs engraved onto tombstones. That the art class, the teacher thought that was a great idea for us to learn something about art and view some amazing stuff there. Okay, check my time. So one of the rubbings I did had a picture of a cross, and it just had, instead of just a cross, it had this kind of a circle, and I thought that looked cool and interesting. And then as I'm looking at more stuff like that, and I was young at the time, I'm probably 17, so um, I just thought that looked rather than just I brought, so that ties into the Michigan Tech trip of mine that had such great influence on me as a person and as an artist, and introduced to me to one of my dearest friends on earth. The arrows pointing all four directions. It felt to me like this book is I don't know how to describe it exactly. And again, I'm not the greatest writer, but you know, it plays with the conventions of religion. Obviously, I mean, it's very deliberately sort of blasphemous in a sense if you're really strict on Christianity and the Catholic faith in particular. But to me, it was it does so because it wants to challenge you. It's not just like blatantly insulting, in my opinion. I know some people may take it that way, and in fact, that's why we lost our first publisher. they thought the book was just too against his faith. Even though he accepted it the first time, he changed his mind. So the thing about the arrows being on the cross, um, it meant something to me personally. I'm not even sure how much I talked to Mike about it. I just thought it not only looked cool, but it meant that we are going all over the place, and there isn't just one way. There isn't just one way to live, to be, one way to heaven. I think everybody has a path, and it's a convoluted and jagged path, and there is no perfect answer for everybody and anybody. So that's what that meant for me. And then, of course, the I think it's kind of obvious the cross being tipped on its side just means that the whole concept of everything is knocked over. But the arrows still point. You still have an arrow pointing upward, which kind of symbolizes heaven. But you still have one pointing down. You have arrows pointing every which way, no matter what that cross is doing. It's still saying that we are um, all on a different path and going a different way. So anyway, back to my work. I'm gonna talk a little bit too much about that. I guess that doesn't mean anything. Here is Golgoth was never supposed to be too muscular. I wanted him to be just muscular enough to make a point that he's, tough and strong, but he's not like the Hulk. He's not super hulky, although I love to put him in hulky poses. Partly because that's just what I like to draw. Partly because, I mean, it makes sense to me because the Hulk is rage. The Hulk is pure rage. And Golgoth has a lot of that. One of the things that I liked about this project that drew me to it was that Golgoth was a little Hulk-like. He was pretty basic in his anger, and I was getting to draw some really cool stuff about with the battles and the fighting. Only just a lot bloodier than anything you'd see the normal Hulk doing. Now, I'm not going to get into the Immortal Hulk. If you guys read comics, man, the Immortal Hulk is doing some crazy stuff. We're gonna have that dead air where Ken forgets to talk because he's drawing and he's getting in the zone, especially when he starts doing that cross hatching and referring to himself in third person. So, following in my mind the line of the spine, the leg. Now this leg's gonna come out, so we're gonna see it get a little bigger. But his foot then, I'm not sure where I want his foot to be. I always imagined for some reason, his pants split right up the center. And I never had a plan for why. And then when I was doing the prequel issue and drawing Golgoth as a human, I decided to give him the same style of pants. So I don't know if I have a good story point for that, but it looked all right and it made sense because you'd see him. And I felt like when I gave the human version of Golgoth the same pants, when we meet him, he's shirtless, but he's wearing these identical pants with the split down him, and then they kind of just fly around. Give me a little element of having some kind of a cape or something. And I think then to him, that's the one thing that's left. He doesn't have anything visually that looks like he looked as a human. His arms are different. He's got freaky hair coming out of weird places. He's got talons and fangs and crazy wicked bat ears. So to him, the only thing he could that he got to keep was his freaking pants. I don't know why, but it made sense in my mind. So as an artist, sometimes you have to think of yourself like an actor and imagine the motive. You ever heard an actor say like, "What's my motive?" I try to think of why does this character have this thing? Why does this character have their hair that way? Why does why do they wear what they wear? Why do they say what they say or do anything that they do at all? It's just me. Pardon me, my pause there. I'm just checking all my stuff, make sure I'm not missing any messages because time passes differently when I'm drawing, and I do love to draw. So let's get back to it. Hey, I almost missed my video today. We took Emily to get her second vaccine. I'm really excited about that. As is she and all her friends, because they're making plans to do sleepovers and get-togethers this summer and stuff. Now that school's out, and hey, thank goodness everybody survived school on such a really rough year, especially for kids that are used to so much social interaction and then missing it. I think it's been tougher than we thought in some ways, and in other ways, the kids weathered it better than the adults. I have seen adults losing their damn minds. Hell, sometimes I lose my damn mind. I'm not judging. Just saying, it's been a rough year, y'all. So Golgoth here has talons on his knuckles. There's one thing Mike and I went round and round about in the design phase, a million years ago. I wanted to put talons on everything. I wanted him to have claws and talons over everything. And Mike had to tell me to tone it down. And in the long run, I guess, Mike, that was, the right decision. I'm not good at toning myself down. I'm in my comfort zone when I'm adding stuff, when I'm doing more, not less. So for me, I mean, I could just sit here and play with shading forever. Trying to do a little bit of a sketch thing, though, and maybe not take all day on just this one piece. Like I've said before, my favorite thing about the sketch covers is that everyone is going to be unique, totally different. Even if I tried to draw the same thing, it wouldn't come out exactly the same. And so everybody that gets one of these bad boys gets a totally brand new cover. And like I said, I started out by saying while supplies last, but I really truly think that I love doing this a lot, and I'm going to want to do more of them. And it gives me something to do on these videos besides just sit and talk about the Incredible Hulk. And I know everybody loves listening to me talk about my favorite comic book character. So you may have noticed I'm a Marvel guy. I'm not just a Marvel guy. I love comics in general. I like a lot of indie comics. I like to support friends and stuff and people just doing their thing, but I like Marvel, DC. I mean, I just like comics. I used to fall into the trap of like Marvel or DC. And eventually I came to figure out that, I mean, you don't have to be one or the other. You can just be a fan of comics. Who likes one movie and not any other movie ever, you know? Um, I have my opinions about different comics like everybody else, but I genuinely believe that the success of comic books and comic book movies is good for all of us. Uh, so anyone that likes comics, even if you don't like, so man, maybe you didn't like Shazam or maybe you don't like Marvel movies. That's okay. I just think we should all root for him anyway, because dude, the success of the entire genre is good for everybody involved in the genre. And I think if comics are doing well, even if it's just comic book movies, it still gets awareness out there. It inspires people, and it lets people like me hopefully keep doing what I love in some way. Not that I'm doing Marvel movies or anything, but I'm getting in. I'm doing comics, and they're doing stuff in the movies that I've always wanted to see. So the hot new thing this week is Loki. Drop me a comment if you've seen Loki. I'm not going to throw in much out there because I don't like to do spoilers. I don't know what the rule is, and there really isn't one on how long before. I just realized I keep ducking out of the picture frame here. Probably annoying to you guys just watching my Hulk. So I don't want to talk about Loki because I don't want to get into spoilers if you haven't seen it. It's really good, I would say, in my opinion, and it's very interesting in terms of like it's a totally different kind of story than anything we've seen so far, which is something that they keep on doing. And I felt like they were doing also with the Netflix series, the Daredevil, Punisher, the Defenders, all of that they all had their own unique things going on. Luke Cage was nothing like Daredevil. Daredevil was nothing like Punisher, except for the season Punisher was in. And none of them were like uh, Jessica Jones. So they've kind of continued that, and they've earned my trust. I only got Disney Plus because I wanted to make sure I was there on day one when the She-Hulk debuted, and then COVID happened and totally screwed over chances of getting She-Hulk done in the year. Luckily, they're working on it now, and it's an amazing cast so far. I heard Tim Roth is coming back as the Abomination. Now, whether or not they'll make him the Abomination, I don't know. The whole story of the She-Hulk is like she's a lawyer, and in the comics, hopefully they go with this because the Dan Slott comics were amazing. She-Hulk spent time defending superheroes and supervillains from like lawsuits and stuff because you'd go on a rampage and you'd wreck New York and then somebody would sue you. So that comes in. So it was a little bit of a comedy with some action thrown in, and that's what it sounds like they're going to try and do with the TV show. So having the Abomination would be awesome. There's a rumor that Scar, son of Hulk, is supposed to be in it. That'd be neat. Mark Ruffalo is reportedly signed on to appear, and hopefully he appears just as Banner for the transfusion, the blood transfusion that creates a She-Hulk, and then disappears. Because as much as I like the Hulk, I want She-Hulk to get her own day in the sun, because there's a character there that I think has a lot of history, and there's a lot of cool stuff there because she's a spin-off of the Hulk, but she's not just another Hulk. She's very, very unique unto herself. Like, every gamma powered person in Marvel Comics is. Everyone think about gamma radiation is that it's unpredictable and it gives everybody their own thing. So I'm gonna make this kind of an explosion that Golgoth is coming from, because why not? I'm gonna do a little bit of a Kirby crackle. So for those that don't know, the Kirby crackle is this it's a collection of little circles, dark circles that are very hard to do, and you have to get them to look right. You gotta look random, but you also have to be deliberate about it. And originated by Jack Kirby, it's a way to show energy, and usually some kind of a weird cosmic energy. So it's used a lot in Marvel Comics. But it's just a bunch of little black circles or dark circles, and it can easily look cheesy. And I think I may be venturing into that territory right now, so I'll probably have to stop that. Trying to give us some action lines here for my man Golgoth flying up and out. Jack Kirby, of course, being the creator, the first artist ever to draw my favorite book, The Incredible Hulk. And a big inspiration for a lot of people all over the world, man, and not just the Hulk, but I mean, he did almost everything Marvel was doing back then. So if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna show you because I did this version for. Ooh, it's transparent. I like that. This is the version that's going to go on a hologram cover if we make that other stretch goal. So picture this with a hologram behind it. But cool. See, only 2 weeks to go, and we're at 184%. We just want to hit that 200% so we can make some more cool stuff. So that's my tribute though to Jack Kirby. King Kirby, as he's called. You'll see a lot of tributes to him throughout most books, because between him and Stan Lee, I mean, they're honestly wouldn't be comics as we know it. Much love to Bob Kane and Joel Schuster and Schumacher, like everyone that's made comics and comic movies since, but for a lot of us, it was Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The Golgoth braids are something else that I came up with. So I have this tattoo. Can't tell what it is, but it's an eye with a moon. Okay. And the first character I ever created, invented, came up with out of my own head when I was a kid was called Luna, Devil's Mistress. Oh. Like everybody else, I was inspired by Spawn and the darker comics of the time. So that was my little tribute. But she had this tattoo across her eye of a half moon, hence the Luna thing. Never went anywhere. I made some sample pages and sent them out and stuff, but I really never finished it into a full book. But I always loved that character, and she had these long braids, long flowing braids. Instead of a cape or something, when I would have her fly, she would have braids all over the place. So that was my way of doing something cool and something I thought was different than anything I had seen at the time. That book never having happened and never planning to happen for a billion reasons. When it came time to do Golgoth, the only direction I had was that he had long hair, and he was a demon. So I felt like, in the original Golgoth had long, straight, jet black hair and wore a leather jacket. He was a tough guy. Didn't like the jacket thing. That was me. I mean, and the original artist was just had a totally different take. So I thought I could kill two birds with one stone. I could do a tribute to my first creation and keep with the long hair theme of the character of Golgoth for Mike. And so I gave him these long braids, and they've just really become an iconic part of the character. I couldn't do Golgoth without him. I'm going to call this one a day. This is another sketch cover for one of the Kickstarter rewards. I'm going to sign it. That's what I do. I am KEN LEINAAR. So vaccines are going well. Life's getting back to normal. In a couple of weeks, we have a big competition in Ohio. My daughter had her dance recital this past weekend, and the kids were amazing. It was really nice to be among the dance family again, being a prop dad backstage, as well as sitting in the audience and enjoying the show. So want to shout out to Shining Star Dance Academy and my daughter and all her friends, teachers, and it's nice to see them after a couple of years be able to be themselves again and do what we all love to do. And what I love to do involves sitting here by myself drawing. So as much as quarantine has sucked and COVID has sucked, I mean, I still have my outlet. A lot of these kids don't. So the fact that theater and Broadway are coming back, it's huge. You know, if you can see a show, see a show. If you can support local theater, please do so. Some people don't like theater. I don't. I think. I think there's something for everybody. Like I don't like every show. I don't like Grease. Oh my god, I don't like Grease. And but there are a lot of shows I do like. So I like Les Mis, or I like Hamilton, or I didn't like Music Man until I saw my daughter in it, and then I'm like really liking Music Man. There are classic shows. There are newer shows. There's always more shows coming out. So like going to the theater doesn't mean going to see just something old like Brigadoon or something with Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire kind of stuff. So I think everybody should go see a show, support your local theater, or it just won't be there. And that was true before the pandemic. It's even more true now because these people have had a whole year off, not making money, probably not having much income. They've been trying to scrape and scramble to just make ends meet, not only to do something creative, but just to pay the bills. I know some people on Broadway that have started doing stuff online, trying to make ends meet. So that hopefully Broadway coming back will be the beginning of America coming back. You know, because the arts are at the heart of who we are. You know, I think there's a core of our society that we need outlets. We need entertainment. You know what I mean? We need movies. We need TV shows. We need fun to thrive. Enough about me. That's enough of my soapbox. So life is good. Getting our vaccines. Getting back to normal. I'm gonna do another show every Monday at noon. That's my new promise, because I do these things way too sporadically. So I've got a few of these covers left. So these are Angel's Blood #1 covers. If we meet that second stretch goal, I'm going to work on. I'm going to print some more of the new book and do sketch covers then. And even after the Kickstarter is over in just 2 weeks, remember 2 weeks, I'm going to do live drawings at least once a week, hopefully twice. I think the second one though might just pop up on you. So just stay tuned. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook at Ken's Comics, and you'll see the new stuff coming up. Because I'm gonna just jump on every now and then. Sometimes I just get something in my head, and I'm like, I'm gonna jump online and talk about this. Maybe about comics, maybe about life. I don't know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Last thing I have to say, as always, is be good to each other.